Folks, I'm Rhino7 and my goal is to read every single DC comic ever released. This will take me about 18 years and today's video is on week 9 of this journey. There is a video for each week prior to this one, but you do not have to watch those 8 videos to understand this one, but if you want to, you can, and there's a playlist for them, and I'll put the link for that in the description. Now, this week, we get a lot of cool things happening. Not only do we get the first introduction of Wonder Woman, we also get the first introduction of the Penguin, one of Batman's most iconic villains. We also get to see Blue Beetle fight Death, and we also see Captain Marvel travel through time and do some time shenanigans, and we get a lot of other cool stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the real part of the video. Get right into it with Monday. This is Monday. I don't remember the day. This is like, I took a long break around this time, so like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are on weird dates. I don't remember what dates they're on. Doesn't matter. Blue Beetle number 10. This one's pretty simple. I don't have much to say about this one. It was fun, but there's a man named Hook who steals $500,000 in bonds. He steals bonds, which is like stocks or something. I don't know financial stuff, but he and his lawyers come up with a scheme to fake his death and get away with the money, which they have him impersonate some... No, they pretend he dies, right? They fake his death, and then they have another guy... They have the crime pinned on another guy, but there's some drunk idiot who's like Hook's... He's related to Hook somehow. He's like Hook's stepbrother or something, and he ruins the entire plan. I don't remember this one very well, to be honest. It's kind of bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't the greatest Blue Beetle comic I've ever read. Anyways, moving on. We have Captain Marvel Adventures number 5. This one's fun. Actually, I did find this one fun. I don't know. Okay, I do have pictures. So, Sivana cooks up a plot to kidnap the princess of a rich kingdom and get millions in ransom jewels. So, as you can see, he has a boxer get facial surgery to look just like Captain Marvel, which is an insane thing to do, to be honest. It just seems unnecessary, but, you know, I guess that is a thing you could do. It seems like that would cost a lot of money, and you don't really need to do the facial surgery part, but I guess that's fine. I guess you can do that. The princess, Katinka, has ended up at an orphanage somehow. She disappeared when she was a baby, and she ended up at an orphanage in wherever Billy Batson lived. Somewhere in America. But she's like a foreign princess of Mentonia, which I don't know if that's a real country or a fake country, but it exists in this world. Okay, these are all the pictures I have. Anyways, there's a show being put on for the orphanage. All the kids in the orphanage are taking to like a play featuring a Captain Marvel movie, which existed. Those existed at this time. There were movies for Superman, Captain Marvel, Spy Smasher got one around this time. There are a few characters who had movies. But Captain Marvel was one of the biggest of this era. One of the biggest characters of the era. So we did have real movies. Which is actually something I touch on a bit more later in this slideshow. Billy and Butia investigate together, even though Butia does stop trusting Captain Marvel for a bit because she believes the guy with the reconstructed facial surgery is actually Captain Marvel. She's a little stupid. But anyways, they investigate together. Butia gets kidnapped by Sivana, who prepares to kill her, his own daughter, right? A while ago, it got revealed that Butia is Sivana's daughter. Also, Sivana does not know Billy and Captain Marvel are different people, which is important. Not really. But anyways, also there's a really short guy. There's a really short guy who pretends to be an orphan to help Sivana, but Sivana didn't hire him. He's just a random short guy. So they kind of work together for a bit. Anyways, the real Captain Marvel saves the day, and that's what's important. Detective Comics 58. Bruce and Dick are at an art exhibit. This is the first appearance of a very important character in Batman lore, I would say, the Penguin. Bruce and Dick are at an art exhibit. They find a short collector. They spot him, named Mr. Boniface, and you can see him in the top left there. He is very short. Suddenly, 2 expensive paintings go missing. They just disappear. Nobody knows where they are. Obviously someone stole them. Duh. That's all that could happen, right? The paintings don't just disappear. Obviously someone stole them. So the police search everyone in the building, saying nobody can leave until we search everyone. They search everyone, including Mr. Boniface. But they can't find them. They can't find the paintings. They can't find the goddamn paintings. Later on, Mr. Bonaface goes to a mob boss, and he pulls out the paintings. It doesn't explain how he hid them from the police. I guess the police are just really bad at searching. They suck at their jobs, which, yeah, that's true. That's accurate to real police. But yeah, he hid them while he was searched, so he has the paintings. So he... What is this? What is this? Okay, I messed up on the slideshow here, I guess. Anyways. That messed me up a bit. Okay, right. So the mob boss agrees to let Mr. Bonaface join his racket because obviously, if you steal expensive paintings like that, so you're gonna get on the team. So you know, Mr. Bonaface joins the racket. Okay, Mr. Bonaface comes up with a code name for himself here, as the Penguin. He becomes the Penguin. This is where he comes up with the code name of the Penguin, and then he helps the racket grow a lot. And he causes a huge crime wave. There's a huge renaissance of crime almost because of the Penguin. There's a renaissance of crime, and he's doing what he can. He's doing whatever he wants. He wants more money though. That's the problem. He's not getting paid by this mob boss enough, so he decides to request more money. When he does this, he's attacked by the mob boss who thinks, hey, this guy's asking me for more money. I'm not gonna let him do that. I'm gonna fucking kill him. So that happens. Penguin uses his umbrella to stab him or shoot him. No, he shoots him. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote stab in my notes. He definitely shoots him. That is a bang sound effect. But that happens. He kills the mob boss. He takes over the racket because obviously, you know, you see your boss get shot in front of you by a short guy with an umbrella who calls himself the Penguin. You're gonna just follow the Penguin guy now, right? You're not gonna challenge him. Now he has the racket. He does some more crime renaissance shit, right? He grows crime in the city even more than it already was. He makes it even bigger. He's now the boss. The city's in chaos because of this guy. He cooks up another scheme to frame the Batman. So he tricks Batman into trying to stop one of Penguin's schemes, which is actually a frame up. Because when Batman believes he's taken down the two thugs that are, you know, stealing from the place. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a liquor store. No, those didn't exist in 1940. Those were banned. So it wasn't it was like a bank. It was like a bank. But he takes down the two thugs, and then the Penguin arrives. And the Penguin uses his umbrella to release a strangling gas. It's called a strangling gas, to make Batman faint. And it also makes it tough to think. It makes it impossible for him to think, pretty much. It makes him go unconscious, and then it like clouds his mind, sort of. So, the Penguin sets it up so it looks like Batman was threatening and robbing Mr. Bonaface, which is, of course, the Penguin's alias. And then the Batman is unable to say anything or fight back or say, hey, you're lying, because the strangling gas in his brain, it's making it tough for him to think. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't say anything. His brain is moving too slow. He's dizzy, he's dazed, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. It's like being strangled. It's like he doesn't have enough oxygen in his brain to understand, hey, I need to talk my way out of this. So the Batman is arrested because the evidence is pretty well against him. Like there's no argument that it wasn't him, right? The evidence all points towards it being Batman. Mr. Bonaface did a very good job at framing him. And then Penguin has a car crash into the police truck, and Batman is kidnapped and taken to the Penguin's hideout, where Penguin reveals his secret plot. If Batman stays trapped with the Penguin will kill Batman. If Batman tries to escape, the police will kill him because he's now a majorly wanted criminal who the police believe escaped from a prison transfer. So, Batman's in a tough situation. He can't escape, because even if he could escape the Penguin's grasp, he gets killed by the police. He can't stay there, because Penguin's gonna fucking kill him. So, Batman's in a tough spot. He uses his secret phone in his boot. He has a secret phone boot, and he uses it to call Robin. So Robin comes up and helps Batman escape. And then, the police still believe Batman is a thief, right? His name is not cleared yet. So he needs to clear his name and he needs to catch the Penguin. Because they escape but they don't get the Penguin. So, Batman and Robin dress up as a blind man and a poor boy to spy on the Penguin's racket and eventually manage to foil one of his plots. they manage to catch him. They manage to stop him, but he does escape, unfortunately. But they do manage to clear their names. So they reveal to Jim Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, that hey, it wasn't us. Here's the money back. We got the money back. We got Penguin's umbrella. We got proof that it was him that did all this. But Penguin does escape, unfortunately. And that is Detective Comics number 58. I did like this one. Why would Penguin kill him if he was a bad guy? What? What are you talking about? Batman is a good guy. Penguin has made it think that Batman is a bad guy. If he kills Batman, now Batman isn't alive anymore, which is good for the Penguin. Batman is wanted, yes, but Batman could clear his name eventually, so it's just better to kill him. I guess. Also, this is a comic from the 1940s. There's not a whole lot of logic behind what's happening. It's just they're just kind of writing it, right? They're writing it. They're not thinking about it that deep. They're pumping out one of these a month. They're pumping out like 30 of these a month. They're pumping out 10 stories per issue and 30 issues a month. That's a lot of things. They're not thinking these through. Also, there's just not a lot of effort put into them in general, even ignoring how much they're fucking pumping out. Anyways, not important. Detective Comics 58. I did like this one. I think it's a good introduction to the Penguin. I like Mr. Bonyface. I like his little secret identity. I like how fat he is. His design hasn't really changed since then. He has pretty much the same design, which is cool. He's a little ugly. He's a little fat. He's a little short. And he's pretty fucking good at what he does. And that brings us to the end of Monday. I do have something written for Flash Comics. Just like a Mars machine. There's like Flash goes to Mars. And there's spider people on Mars. But that's not important. Anyways, this is my Monday summary. These are all the comics I read on Monday. So we have Blue Beetle number 10, Captain Marvel Adventures number 5, Crack Comics number 19, Detective Comics 58, Feature Comics 51, Flash Comics 24, Green Lantern 2, Hit Comics 18, Leading Comics number 1, Master Comics 21. Master Comics. Is that a thing? Is that right? That is right. Okay, Tuesday. Then we have Tuesday. Not a lot on Tuesday. I don't have a lot for Tuesday. I do have More Fun Comics number 74 in Green Arrow. Someone is making all sound in the city disappear temporarily. And it's some guy who calls himself The Voice, and he wants $10 million, or else he'll make the city silent permanently. Green Arrow and Speedy save the day. This one isn't really fun. I don't have any reason to talk about this one, other than it is sort of reminiscent of Automatopoeia. It's not Automatopoeia. It's a different villain, but it is sort of similar power-wise to Automatopoeia. That brings us to the Tuesday summary of these comics. I'm not going to read them all out. We didn't have much good today. Minuteman just doesn't do anything, man. Minuteman is just boring. Mystery Men comics just didn't have anything good. More Fun Comics, Green Arrow I already talked about. Tuesday was not great. Then we have Wednesday. That brings us to Wednesday. Wednesday also not great, but Wednesday a little better because we do get something important on Wednesday. We get All-Star Comics number 8. Now, why is All-Star Comics number 8 important? You just got a little flash of it. I wasn't supposed to go to that slide. Anyways, in All-Star Comics number 8, some important things happen. I'm not going to go through all of it, but basically, Dr. Midnight and Starman replace Green Lantern, who is now an honorary member, and the Flash, who is also now an honorary member. So this is what the what are they called? What are they called? The Justice Society of America have now lost probably their two most iconic members. Like if you say Justice Society of America, people are gonna think of Green Lantern and the Flash, Alan Scott, Jay Garrick, and they're off the team already within like 4 issues. But basically, those are off the team. Dr. Midnight and Starman join. Starman's pretty cool. I do like Starman. There's a bunch of stuff going on. The witnesses are going mad. This story I don't have a lot to say about, but what is important is in this issue, also, normally All-Star Comics is just JSA, but in this issue, they have a little extra. Introducing Wonder Woman. Introducing Wonder Woman. So, what happens in Introducing Wonder Woman? The first appearance of Wonder Woman is in All-Star Comics number 8. She would get another appearance in her own issue, Sensation Comics number 1, a little bit later on. But for now, let's talk about introducing Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor. This is basically her basic origin story, right? I think everyone knows this one, but let me go over it. Steve Trevor crashes on Paradise Island. Two Amazons named Diana and Mala discover and save him. Diana begins to fall in love with him while nursing him back to health. Hippolyta uses the magic sphere to discover how Steve arrived on the island. He was chasing a Nazi spy. Hippolyta decides an Amazon will be chosen to send into the world of men to help fight against the Nazis. Diana wins the competition by sneaking in, and she wins, and now she's sent off to go into the world of men and take Steve Trevor back to his army and protect the world of men. And that's what happens in introducing Wonder Woman. I think it's a good introduction. I think it is not progressive for the current day, but for the 1940s, it's probably pretty good, right? It's probably pretty good, I would say. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a little wordy. It's very wordy, actually. It's very wordy. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being wordy. Oh, this one's fun. Batman number 8. I do enjoy this one. This is the first story in the issue, I believe. There's 4. This is the best one. This is the only one I'm going to talk about. But it is by far the best one. So there's a scientist guy. Alright? He buys a bunch of dead dogs. He buys a bunch of dead dogs. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could just buy dead dogs. But he does it. He does that, and then he injects them with a serum that he's invented that he suspects will be able to bring them back to life. It works. It works. The dogs come back to life. It works. Unfortunately, the guy funding him doesn't believe that the serum works and believes the oppressor has been stealing the radium for the serums and selling the radium instead of making the serums, and faked the dead dog thing by replacing the dead dogs with living ones. And he didn't actually, the serum didn't work and the serum doesn't exist. So, Professor Ross decides, okay, by the way, that's the professor's name, Professor Ross. He decides, okay, I'm going to prove this works. I'm going to kill myself, and I'm going to give my assistant instructions to use the serum to bring me back. Which is crazy. Just a stupid thing to do. Because, honestly, it's like, the dogs, okay, it worked on the dogs, yeah, but a human body is different than a dog's. A human body needs a lot more to function than dogs do. So there's a good chance you just kill yourself and it's not going to work. You don't know what's going to work for sure. You haven't done human trials yet. Radium is radioactive, by the way. I am aware of that. And also the writer was aware of that. Now, the assistant injects the serum into Ross. And not only does he revive, it appears there's no radium in his system. Not a single trace of radium in his system. It works. Not only does it bring people back to life, it also doesn't make them radioactive. The radium doesn't stay in their system. There's no radium in his system. The next day, he finds out there is in fact radium in his system. There's quite a lot of it, actually. There's definitely radium in his system. He is green. He's glowing green because there's so much radium in his fucking system. He kills his assistant by accident, by touching him. So his assistant is dead now. The assistant that brought him back to life, by the way. He discovers something called Volatile, which temporarily takes away his radiumness. It makes him normal again. So he eventually runs out of Volatile. He doesn't have any more. But it's the only thing that makes him human again. It's the only thing that makes him non-radioactive. If he's radioactive, he can't touch people, he can't touch things, he can't do anything. So, he decides he needs to steal some Volatile. So he puts on a, big rubber hazmat suit. And he goes out and he decides, okay, I'm gonna steal some fucking Volatile. Using this hazmat suit so I don't accidentally kill anyone. So, he begins stealing Volatile from hospitals, and he starts making the news, because he's stealing a lot of Volatile. He needs a lot of it, right? I think it's becoming less and less effective every time he uses it, so, he's gotta steal a ton of it. He's gotta just keep stealing it over and over again, which is not great. I am running an ad, by the way. So, now he's made the news. He's on the news. He's all over the news. He's all over the goddamn news, because he keeps stealing fucking Volatile. Alex. He keeps stealing fucking Volatile. Bruce and Dick read this newspaper, about the volatile thefts and deduce they are almost certainly being done by a scientist. I don't know how they come to this conclusion, but I guess they decide volatile probably is like a chemical. It's probably being used by a scientist. But he's getting it from hospital, so I assume it's like a medical drug. So I don't know why they're automatically assuming it has to be a scientist and not like somebody that needs it for medical reasons. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. Like I said, 1940s comic writers not thinking about this shit. They're not thinking it. They're not thinking about it that deep. But yeah, fine, whatever. Bruce and Dick figure out it's a scientist somehow and decide that they need to go to Gotham Hospital. I'm going too far. They need to go to Gotham Hospital. They figure out. I guess Gotham Hospital is the only place in the area that still has volatile. That's the only way I can figure out how they deduced that it was Gotham Hospital he would appear at next. But, you know, they don't really make it clear how they figured that out. But they did it. They did it. They fucking figured it out. So they become Batman and Robin and head over to Gotham Hospital. And they catch the professor and begin fighting him. They throw a table at him. And he obviously fights back. He attempts to flee. He uses his radium powers to force Batman and Robin to let go of the pipe they're climbing, which allows him more time to escape. He gets in a truck and he drives away. He has volatile. He wants to cure himself. I don't know. He knows it's temporary at this point, so I don't know why he's saying he's gonna cure himself. He knows it's not gonna work forever, but I guess he thinks he got so much this time that it'll work. Anyways, Batman grabs his glove as he escapes, and later uses it to find his fingerprints and discovers it's Professor Ross, who's a pretty popular guy, I would say. He's a pretty famous guy. Meanwhile, the professor uses the volatile and becomes normal again. He's normal. Oh my god. He's a human once more. It's beautiful. He can now go see his lover, his love interest. And he can hug her and he can hold her and he doesn't have to worry about hurting her. What he doesn't notice is the volatile is already worn off. So when he touches her, she fucking dies. She fucking collapses on the floor and dies. And then the maid walks in and she goes, "Oh my god, you fucking killed her. What the hell, dude? You killed her." And he's freaking out. She's freaking out. He runs away. She calls the police. And then the days that follow sees the greatest manhunt in the history of crime. That's what the newspapers say. He's all up in the newspapers as Professor Radium. They're calling him Professor Radium. He's a popular guy. He's an infamous guy, I suppose you would say. He starts going crazy because he's reading these news articles. He just killed the love of his life. He's unable to interact with anybody. He's made of radioactivity. He's freaking the fuck out. He's going insane. Batman comes up with a scheme to pull the police. He comes up with a scheme to get the professor back in his house so they can catch him. He tells the police to go away from Ross's house and stop blocking it off, so he'll return for the volatile, and then Batman and Robin will be waiting when he arrives. It works. The scheme works. He comes to his house, he walks through the door, which just burns away when he gets close to it. And then, he finds the volatile, which is hidden in a book. Batman and Robin reveal themselves. Ross pulls off his glove and starts shooting radiation beams, which is a new power he's just randomly developed. I don't know how he can shoot radiation beams. It doesn't make sense. He should not be able to just do that. His power is that his skin is radiated, right? He has radium in his system, so when he touches shit, it burns and it dies and shit. But he shouldn't be able to shoot beams. I don't know where these beams are coming from. And he only does this once in the comic. I don't know why. They come up with stupid shit in the 1940s. They just give people shit. They just let people do shit, man. Anyways, the beams don't work on Batman and Robin because Batman used a rubber spray on their bodies. I don't know if there's a real thing. I don't know if you can make a rubber spray, but he did it. So they're immune to the radiation now because they're rubber sprayed. Ross knocks down a chandelier, trapping Batman and punches Robin. So Batman escapes. Ross escapes. Professor Radium escapes. Batman and Robin escape their traps and chase him down to a shipyard. They climb a crane, which allow them to surprise him. They kick him downwards and he falls into the water and presumably drowns. But there is a little, maybe he survived at the end. And I think I really, really like this comic. I like it a lot. This is the first time we've really had a sympathetic Batman villain. That's not true. it's not the first time we've had a sympathetic Batman villain, but it's the first time we've seen the sort of Batman trope of the villain gaining powers due to some freak accident, and then the powers sort of drive them mad. Even though they try to stay away from people, they try to be normal. All they want is to be normal, but their powers sort of make that impossible, and then that sort of drives them insane, and they start doing more and more desperate things, leading them to become a villain. It's sort of the first time we see this really tragic Jekyll and Hyde kind of Batman villain situation, and I think that's big. I think that's big. This is sort of like Mr. Freeze's story almost. It's very, very reminiscent of Mr. Freeze, I would say. Even of Two-Face. Even of, like, Clayface, even. At least modern Clayface, not like the 1940s Clayface. But that's all I have for Batman number 8. I really like that comic. Moving on. This is my Wednesday summary. These are all the comics I read that day. Wiz Comics 25, World's Finest number 4, WoW Comics number 4, Christmas Comics number 1, which only has 1 issue, which is crazy. They need to bring Christmas Comics back. They need to bring it back, even though it's terrible, even though it's a terrible comic. They need to bring it back. Action Comics 44, Adventure Comics 70, All American Comics 34, All Star Comics 8, Batman 8, Big 3 number 7. Now we move on to Thursday. Thursday, these are the ones I remember well. We are into the ones I remember fairly well now. Detective Comics 59. This is the Return of the Penguin. This is Penguin's second appearance. Clayface had Clayface had a pretty soon, like his second appearance was pretty recent after his first appearance, but I think this is even sooner. This is like back to back almost. This is back to back. Penguin was in Batman number 8, and then immediately in the following Detective Comics issue. That's big, right? For the quickest returning villain, I would say, so far. Anyways, Return of the Penguin. Penguin cooks up a scheme to turn in wanted criminals, get paid a large sum of money, and then break them out so that they can join his gang. And he gives them a cut. He does this a couple times, slowly growing his crew, but Batman and Robin stop him, and he jumps off a boat and escapes once again. I don't have much to say about this comic because it's not that interesting, right? I explained about all there is to explain, but, you know, it's alright. More Fun Comics 75. Dr. Fate helps a man who's been framed. Not much to say there. This book has a lot of heroes in it by now, right? By the way. Like, it has Spectre, Dr. Fate, Johnny Quick, Aquaman, Green Arrow. I think there might be someone else, too. It's a lot of... I think this is the most superhero one. It has the most superheroes in it, which is pretty big. Spectre. The Spectre. This is a good Spectre issue. Jim arrives home after work and finds Clarice there. Clarice is Jim is the Spectre. Clarice is Jim's ex-fiance, who he had to break up with after he died and became the Spectre. Because, you know, if he's a ghost guy doing superhero ghost shit, he can't be in a relationship. She misses him. He sort of dismisses her and you know, tells her to go away. The super cop disappears. Percival, the super cop, who's just a guy who really wants to work with Jim, but hates the Spectre. And he tries to convince Jim they should join forces again. A convicted felon wants to kill Jim and gets in a tussle with Percival, who is the super cop. Jim becomes the Spectre and saves Percival. The Spectre then kidnaps Percival and leaves him stranded on a planet millions of light years away, and then forgets him there. Is that not insane? He kidnaps him, picks him up, puts him on a planet millions of light years away, and then just leaves him there for presumably like a day almost, because Jim's coming back from work when he remembers. Like, presumably, like 24 hours almost. He is stranded on this faraway planet. Who knows what the gravity like? Who knows what the food situation's like? Who knows what the oxygen's like? And then, you know, he comes back and gets him. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry I forgot you on this planet millions of light years away from Earth. I'm sorry, I forgot you on this planet millions of light years away from Earth. Oh, forgive me. Obviously, you know, Percival still hates the Spectre, right? And he has a good reason to now. Anyways, Percival decides to try and get Clarice and Jim back together. Percival spies on Clarice and sees her getting painted by an artist, so he tells Clarice he's going to try and get her and Jim back together. She's like, okay, do that. I'm not gonna do anything because I'm just so sick of trying to appeal to him, and I don't know what's going on, and he won't tell me, and I just want to get back with him, but he's not fucking communicating with me. So he says, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get you back together. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna figure this out. Later, he follows the artist. Percival follows the artist because he's suspicious of him for some reason, and he hangs onto the car. He latches himself onto the trunk of the car. He sees the artist park at a lake and throw some kind of metal figure into the river off the dock. Later on, he tells Jim about what the artist did, which worries Jim, because obviously that's a very suspicious thing to do. And obviously Jim has knowledge of the occult and weird things like that. And, you know, so he knows something weird's probably going on. When Jim goes to see Clarice, because they wanted to make sure she's okay, turns out she's fallen terribly ill. She's fallen insanely ill. She's really fucking sick. And Jim's like, what the hell? What's going on? So he becomes the Spectre, and as the Spectre, he has a natural sense for the occult, so he can sense that the artist has trapped Clarice's soul in the painting of her, which is a crazy thing to do. So her soul is just in the painting. I don't know if she's like conscious in the painting or what. It's not made very clear. But, you know, that's pretty evil. So, Spectre realizes Percival is about to dive into the lake for the figure, which happens to be right next to Jim's dead body from when he first became the Spectre. Because he's not alive, he's dead. Right? His dead body is there. He's a ghost, technically. But he has like a physical form. But it's not his original body. So the Spectre asks the voice that made him the Spectre, the voice that made him the Spirit of Justice. He asks the voice for permission to bring himself back to life, and the voice allows him. The voice says, "Okay, you can do that. Yeah, you've solved enough crime. You can have your physical form back." So he takes over his dead body. He becomes one with his body again, which for some reason hasn't decomposed at all, even though it's presumably been like months. But I guess that's understandable. I guess it's just magic shit. He swims back up to the top of the lake. He smashes into Percival, and then the two are caught and threatened by Armand, the artist, who explains he's grown a hunger for capturing the human essence and throwing the figure in the lake as part of the ritual. He really likes the taste of souls, I guess. He really likes trapping people in paintings, I guess. That's his thing. So then it turns out, you know, even though Jim is alive again, he still has his powers. So he just gets to be alive and also the Spectre now, which feels like it ruins the point of the Spectre a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But he becomes the Spectre and banishes Armand. Jim meets with Clarice and the two sit in the sunset and reunite. Sweet ending, I suppose, but it does ruin the point. I don't think he should get to be alive and also have the Spectre powers. There needs to be a balance here, right? You gotta pick one. Spunky. Isn't the falling or as good as... Okay. I'm ignoring you. Give me a second to fucking clear my throat. Okay. Thursday summary. None of this is important. Sorry, did I go back? Okay, Friday. Friday's a big one. Friday's a very big one, actually. I hate you. I'm not supporting your startup business anymore. What is my startup business? I don't have a business. Anyways, Mystery Comics number 30. Blue Beetle. You have Blue Beetle. Death begins rounding up people from around the city block. He begins kidnapping people, and nobody knows what happens to them after they disappear. Dr. Franz, who is an ally of Blue Beetle's, believes it's odd that Death has confined its actions to only one city block. I agree, that is odd. Death tries to kidnap another woman, but Mike Manning gets between them to save the girl. Death attacks Mike, knocking him unconscious. Blue Beetle arrives at the scene after overhearing Mike's screams and witnesses Death and his slaves carrying Mike away. He begins trying to help Mike. He attacks Death. He starts fighting the slaves. By the way, Death calls them his slaves. I'm not just calling them slaves. Death calls them... They're his Death slaves. Okay? So Blue Beetle saves Mike, but Death and the slaves do get away. They do escape. They do poof into the underworld or whatever. They disappear. And they like knock him on the back of the head, which like dazes him, and then they disappear. To get back at the Beetle, Death decides to kidnap Joan, who Beetle has saved many times in the past. Beetle begins searching for her, but he doesn't have much to go off. He accidentally runs into a guy called Dr. Necro. Dr. Necro was just about to follow Death and allows Beetle to tag along. In this cave that Necro leads Blue Beetle down, suddenly he turns. He tries to kill him. He tries to kill Beetle. He tries to kill Blue Beetle. He throws a rock at him. Which I don't know why he thought that would work. It's a rock. And he didn't throw it very hard. He, tossed it. He did not throw it hard enough to kill the Blue Beetle, whose suit, I assume, is armored. And has also been hit by... verifiably been hit by harder things. Anyways, turns out Necro wasn't working for Death at all. He's not betraying because he works for Death. He discovered this cave, and he wants to keep the cave secret. That's bullshit, by the way. We'll find out why that's bullshit later on. Death appears. He hangs Necro. For fun, I guess. And then he lights the cave on fire. And Blue Beetle almost dies to fire, but he falls down a trapdoor. Then he starts to climb up the trapdoor because he hears Jones screaming. I don't know why he just gets to climb up the trapdoor. I don't think he should be allowed to just climb up the trapdoor. I don't think he should be allowed to do that. I think it should be a little bit harder for him. But he does it. He saves her. He knocks out the slaves. He saves her, and she knows it's a hoax. She reveals, hey, I know it's a hoax. Blue Beetle's like, how do you know it's a hoax? And she's like, I don't know. Blue Beetle's like, what's the hoax about? She's like, I don't know. I just know it's a hoax. But anyways, it doesn't matter because they find out soon enough that the hoax is that apparently Death has kidnapped all these women and children to force them to work in his mine. He just wants them to work in his mine for him. Which doesn't seem like a very Death thing to do. I don't think Death would be worried about a mine, about getting riches. I don't think Death would be worried about that. Anyways, Blue Beetle frees all the slaves. And he sends them to the surface. And Jones says, I'm going to stick with you instead of going up to the surface. I'm going to stay with you. Anyways, Blue Beetle calls over Death. He's like, okay, I want to figure out who this guy is, so I'm going to call him. I'm going to yell his name. So Death arrives, and turns out Death is friggin' Necro. It's been Necro this whole friggin' time. It's actually been Necro, and he just did a bunch of little tricks. And schemes to make him seem like Death. I don't know how he did some of the stuff he did. Like, he was disappearing and shit, and he was, flying. But I guess he can just do some of that. I don't know how he set the cave on fire, or how he hung the dummy. It just happened. I don't know how he did some of the shit he did. I don't know how he did it. It doesn't explain how he did it. He just kind of did it. But anyways, it's been Necro, and he explains that the mine contains a ton of uranium, and he wanted to keep it to himself. So he used the Death stuff to scare people off from the mine, and eventually realized he could actually kidnap the people he was scaring, and use them to mine the uranium for him. And then he kills himself, because he doesn't want to go to jail. And Beetle tells Franz about the mine, and Franz is like, okay, we can use uranium for something good, I guess. And that is Mystery Men Comics number 30. This was a fun one. It was fun, but it is indicative of my biggest complaint for 1940s comics, which is just let it be fucking goofy. Just let it be goofy, dude. You don't... Blue Beetle can fight Death. Just let Blue Beetle fight Death. I mean, just let it happen. Just let it happen, man. I was interested for the first half of this issue, because I thought Blue Beetle's fighting Death. What the heck's going on here? And then it turns out it's just this old fucking guy that likes uranium a lot and used some fucking magic tricks that he learned in fucking high school, freshman year. So what are we doing here? Let Blue Beetle fight Death. He's already wearing spandex and calling himself Blue Beetle and jumping around buildings. Let him fight Death. Just let it happen. But they can't do that. They can't do the mystical shit. They just can't do it. They have to have some sort of explanation, some sort of Scooby-Doo type mask off situation. They can't. You know who doesn't? You know who doesn't have that shit? You know who doesn't have that shit? Spectre, Dr. Fate. That's about it. Sometimes Superman, but Superman's mostly going up against racketeers at this time. Plastic Man, even Plastic Man doesn't. Well, Plastic Man's mostly going up against racketeers too. It's just let the comic book be. Let the silly comic book be silly. Just let it happen. Anyways, let's move on to Sensation Comics number 1. This is a big one. Wonder Woman's first official comic. Her first solo. So, we have Wonder Woman with the jet off rip. She has the invisible jet. I don't know how she knows how to fly. I guess it doesn't really make sense. I feel like on an isolated island where nobody is allowed to leave, you wouldn't have many pilot lessons. I don't know why. I don't know where she learned to drive a plane. I don't know who on Amazon Island knows how to drive a plane, especially considering they've been on this island since before planes were invented. I guess, you know, I could see them, like, inventing the plane, but they just wouldn't, it's just not a thing they need. It's a pretty small island, right? They're not flying edge to edge. So I don't know where she got this skill from. Maybe it's just an innate thing she knows how to do. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But anyway, she delivers Steve Trevor to a hospital. She decides to walk around in the streets for a while she's waiting for Steve to get better. And she gets, you know, sort of ogled and harassed by men and women alike, but mostly men. Then she starts running around. She starts, you know, running around, whatever. She stops a bank robbery, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty W. She stops a cool bank robbery. And so far, this issue is just sort of showing off shit she can do, because she starts running faster than a car, and it's just kind of showing, hey, she can fucking do some cool shit. She can do some cool shit. She can do some cool stuff. But, you know, whatever, she runs faster than a car. Some ugly guy named Al follows her and gives her a business proposition. By the way, when I say ugly, I mean, he's a little, you know, he's facially challenged, man. Like, I'm ugly. This guy's something else. He has a unibrow. His face is just shaped weirdly. I don't like him. Anyways, Al hires her to be in his, like, stage play, where she does her bullet trick. She blocks the bullets with her bracelets. So she gets paid for it. After what I assume is a couple days, Diana sees in the papers that Steve Trevor has made a full recovery, and she quits the play job. She's like, okay, I quit. Give me my money. I'm gonna go see Steve Trevor. Cale tries to steal the money Diana made working for him, but she grabs his car and holds him back. She stops him from driving off, which is pretty dull. It's pretty auraful. And then, you know, she gets her money back and goes to see good old Steve Trevor. The money she never uses, by the way, as far as I can remember. Then, when she goes to the hospital, there's some fucking stupid comic bullshit, dude. Some stupid comic fucking plot armor, just random bullshit. Because, for some reason, this nurse sitting on the stairs happens to be moving away soon, so she's gonna leave her job. She's actually moving away today to be with her boyfriend in who knows where. This nurse also happens to be willing to sell her identity. This nurse also happens to be named Diana, and also happens to look exactly like Wonder Woman. What kind of fucking? It's so absurd. How does this happen? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that this would be. The chances are zero. The chances are zero. It's just, it's fucking stupid logic. It doesn't make any sense. Why would she, why would she have all these, why would she look exactly like Diana, and to have the same name, and to be willing to sell her identity, and be about to move away forever and ever? It doesn't make any sense. Even if she's moving away, why would she sell her identity? You're gonna need that later. In a different, even if you're moving to a different country, you're still gonna need your identity. You can't sell it. You go to get a job, they're gonna say, hey, this is the same social security number as the chick that works in the Delaware hospital. I don't know if this is not Delaware. I don't know why I said Delaware. But my point is, it's stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, she takes care of Steve for a bit. She pretends to be a doctor. She gets her secret identity. And one time at night, he reads a newspaper that explains there's some more stuff going on. There's some bombers that are going to attack the Americans, and he sneaks out. I believe Diana lets him sneak out because she's like, okay, you gotta save your people. So she gets scolded by the doctor, obviously, because she just let her patient escape. But she also leaves and becomes Wonder Woman. She puts on her Wonder Woman clothes. In her hideout, which I assume is what she used the money for, actually. So when I said earlier that she never used the money, I lied. It's implied that she used the money for this hideout, but it is not explicitly said, so I actually hold my ground that she didn't explicitly spend that money. Anyways, Steve Trevor returns to the army to help stop a bomber from attacking one of the U.S. Army camps. He stops the bomber by flying into it, which is just dumb. Use your guns. You have guns. It's an army plane. You have guns. Shoot the goddamn plane. He doesn't even try to shoot the plane. He just rams into it immediately, which I guess is a fine idea. And then his parachute is ripped, so he's falling to his death. Diana just happens to be nearby in her invisible jet, so she saves him. Then they happen to catch the bomber, the Nazi bomber, and he mentions a secret base before dying, and it turns out Diana knows where it is because of the magic sphere on Amazonia Island. So they break into the base, they poison everyone in the base, some guy blows it up so he can take Diana and Steve down with them. Steve, not Steam. Diana survives easily and saves Steve from the rubble, but he is severely hurt, and ends up back in the hospital, which I think it would be funny if that's like an inconsistent thing, if like Steve's just always in the hospital, but I don't know if that happens yet. It does happen again in issue 2, I believe he does get injured again. I'm actually not certain. Anyways, they say Steve is back in the hospital, and Diana Prince and Wonder Woman have a Clark Kent Superman dynamic now, in that they are sort of rivals, despite being the same person. And that's on this page, actually, so I was on the wrong side for that. Wiz Comics 26. This is a good one. It's time travel. I do love the format of Captain Marvel comics, where Billy's sort of telling a story of Captain Marvel. It's a little confusing because I feel like he's giving away his secret identity. But I guess like he's proposing these as fictional. I don't know. It's confusing because it's shown that he's telling these stories to his radio show, and he's the same age as when these are happening. I'm just not sure about how everything's working here, but I like it. I do like the format. Anyways, this starts some time travel bullshit. Captain Marvel goes to Dr. Vanna, who is just Savannah but good. Dr. Savannah, but, with some mind tricks to make him good. And he asks Dr. Vanna for some help going back in time, because some guy who disappeared in the 1800s is the same guy as the guy who disappeared recently. If that makes sense. It doesn't, but whatever. It makes sense, sure. Captain Marvel gets the guy back to the right century after helping Vanna make a time machine. That's not important, though. The time travel guy, the mystery guy disappearing, not important. Never explained why he disappeared into the past. Never explained how he got to the future. Never explained any of that stuff. Just that, hey, it happened, and he's back now. So we fixed things, technically. Anyways, Captain Marvel gets the guy back to the right century, right, I said that. Vanna gets trapped in the time machine, and also the time machine malfunctions and sends Captain Marvel to France instead of keeping him in North America, which is, it's never explained why it malfunctions like that, but it does, I guess. Anyways, Vanna gets trapped in the time machine, and somehow it sends him back in time and turns him back into Savannah, but in the present. It like rewinds time for him, and rewinds him back 2 months ago to when he was still Savannah, not Dr. Vanna. I don't know why. I don't know how the time machine rewinds him and doesn't send him back in time. That's not how the time machine works. That's how the time machine is shown to not do that. It just sends you back in time. You establish time travel and then changed how it works. The time travel machine should not be able to do that. It just shouldn't. There shouldn't be. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Anyways, Savannah sends Captain Marvel back in time, which turns her back into Billy, because it sends him so far back as before Solomon and Hercules and all of them existed. Billy runs into an old guy from far in the future who sends Billy back to his time, and the older guy is implied to be Savannah from the future, and then Captain Marvel returns to the present and sends Savannah into the future, and the time machine blows up. And that's cool, I guess. Action Comics 45, Superman steals animals from Africa and puts them in a zoo in Metropolis. He kidnaps like dozens of animals and he forces them into a zoo. I don't know. Is this your go? You know who would never do that? Slam Bradley. Slam Bradley would never do that. But Superman would. And that's your go. It's not my go. My go's Slam Bradley. I don't know why your go is kidnapping animals and putting them in a zoo and forcing them in a zoo. Zoos are like fine if they're done well. This is a rundown zoo, by the way. This is a zoo that's about to close down. So it's a bad zoo. It's a bad zoo. Which means they're not taking proper care of the animals. And I'm just giving them dozens more that they will probably kill or starve or mistreat. That's your go? That's your go. Not my go, that's your go. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's your go. No, that's cool. That's cool. No. Yeah, that's heroic. That's heroic, honestly. It's heroic. Friday summary. All these. Saturday, not a lot going on Saturday. We have Detective Comics 60, which is the first appearance of the Bat Signal. Not much else happens. I guess Robin almost dies, and Batman gets really mad. The Joker's around, right? He's doing costume trick stuff, but it's just not a very good comic. Saturday summary, that's everything I read. Sunday, we have a couple things, but not much. We have More Fun Comics 76 and Police Comics number 7. In More Fun Comics 76, we have a Green Arrow story. Arrow and Speedy break into a medieval castle. The owner of the castle has been attacked and is about to be killed by some people who broke in to find treasure that they believe is in the castle. Turns out the treasure is cursed, and the evil guys die, and Arrow and Speedy save the day. In Police Comics number 7, E.L. O'Brien, who is Plastic Man, joins the United Crooks of America to take them down from the inside. At the meeting to vote for his joining, one of the members votes no and mentions how every gang he's joined up with has gotten caught, which is a good point. That is a point I have brought up in his first appearance. How is he going to continue to do this? If he starts getting the reputation that every gang he joins up with is getting taken down, he's getting the reputation now. How is he going to deal with that? I know they're not going to do anything with this, but it's cool. It's cool that it's mentioned, but I know they're not going to do anything seriously with it, unfortunately. But it is cool. It's a cool thought. Anyways, he beats them. Whatever. He takes them apart. Sensation Comics number 2. Okay. So, let me just run through this really quick. Diane and Steve get kidnapped by Nazi spies. First appearance of Dr. Poison. Dr. Poison intends to use a truth serum on Trevor to find out how much the Americans know about the Nazis' plans. Diana tricks Dr. Poison and swaps the truth serum needle for a saline one. Trevor pretends the serum worked and is taken back to his cell after giving Poison fake info. In her cell, Diana transforms into Wonder Woman. Some Nazi soldiers watch Wonder Woman escape prison and decide to let her go because she's probably doing some publicity stunt. They're stupid. She just escaped from prison. You're dumb. Dr. Poison has a new drug called Reverso that basically makes anyone it's used on bizarro, right? It makes them do the opposite of what they are told to do. Poison sends Nazis to put Reverso in the American water supply. Fatphobic Etta Candy, just a very fatphobic caricature. She's constantly eating. She's fat. She's constantly like, oh, I love sweets. Oh, give me sweets. Oh, I've run out of sweets and I want some more. And I think that is a very bad depiction of fat people. And I don't think that's okay. I actually love women. I actually love women. And yeah. Anyways, I don't like this version of Etta Candy. It just feels mean. It feels mean-spirited. Well, I'll say that. It feels a little mean. Anyways, Wonder Woman recruits a shit ton of women to help her invade the enemy. They invade, they distract the men, while Wonder Woman saves Steve Trevor, who's adamant that they must find Dr. Poison and force him to fix Reverso's soldiers. They find Dr. Poison. Turns out Dr. Poison is actually a woman. Etta tackles Dr. Poison, and Dr. Poison gives him the antidote before being captured and imprisoned. Wiz Comics 27 is extremely racist. That is my Sunday summary. And that is all 70 comics summarized that I read this week. We had some bangers. We had some not good ones. We had some complaints. We had some interesting stories. We had a good journey this week. Week 9. Week 10, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna read I haven't read my Monday comics yet, but I will in a bit. I will today. But I don't have much else to say on that. So anyways, if you love comic books, if you don't love comic books, if you just want to see me continue this journey, consider subscribing. Consider following my Twitch. Consider subscribing on YouTube. Consider following on Twitter, where I also tweet things. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. I will be back next week with week 10. Goodbye. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Okay, that's YouTube done. That's the YouTube video. That's my YouTube video.